Okay, so yesterday, as you can see here, at 5:36 p.m., that's my time in the UK, Metalit, or now they seem to be called Mexalit, posted an update to the replay mod, and it's an update specifically to rendering. I think they were going to wait for a new version of Core Mods to come out and release this, but I guess that's taking too long, so they've released that build early on version 1.28. So we're going to go through the new features here, and then we're going to jump in the headset and have a look at what's changed in there, and then have a look at a final render file because there's some other changes as well. But we'll go through this now. So rendering now outputs finished MP4s. No more messing around with video and audio files or following complicated instructions from the README, or my complicated instructions for trying to merge videos in DaVinci. Sped up the rendering process by nearly 5 times. I have done a couple of test renders and it's insane how fast it is. Like, it's so much faster. At first I thought it had defaulted back to 1080p or something, but no, it was in fact rendering. It's just, yeah, it's so much faster. The encoder was changed, giving higher quality for the same bitrate and fixing crashes from high settings. Again, yeah, I've not really experienced any crashes apart from I was trying to render with some really sort of high-res sabers with cosmetics, and that kept crashing it, but it was just one specific set of sabers, so that's not really render's fault. Anyway, added an option to enable or disable recording sound effects in renders. I did notice this was off by default. Yeah, recording the song without sound effects is default, as it's much faster. I didn't notice that at first, so I kept wondering why the sound wasn't playing, but I'll show you that when we jump in the headset so you know where to turn that on. Again, I haven't noticed much difference in the rendering time with it on, so it doesn't seem to be that much of a difference, to me at least. Added settings for bloom and anti-aliasing in renders, meaning any tweaks no longer affects the render output at all. This is a really nice one. Again, I stopped using bloom because the final file I was getting after transcoding and editing, bloom made all the blacks in the video look wrong, like kind of washed out grey instead of that inky black that we're sort of used to. But now with the bloom directly in the render settings, that's no longer the case, so not having to use any tweaks anymore is amazing. I can turn bloom back on, I can use custom sabers again, and everything looks just as good as if you had bloom turned off, so excellent job here. Fixed an issue where debris would not correctly follow the reduced debris settings in renders. Again, people were messaging me, they did have this problem. I didn't have this problem, and then it suddenly appeared where you would have debris on, but instead of the blocks getting cut in half, they were just disappearing. Like, you would see them get cut for a split second, then the block would vanish. That has now been fixed. Changed the way the audio is muted, meaning that rendering audio also is now, and environment spectrograms moving the video output. Yeah, I don't really get that, but anyway. Added prevention for the screen turning off during renders, which would cause interruptions in the output. Well, that's nice, because I was still disabling the proximity sensor, but if this prevention is in place, then there's no need to mess about with that anymore either. Replace the disable camera option with an on-screen only counter displaying the current timing in the song. This is another amazing feature, because before it would just go blank, the screen, and you were like, I don't know what it's doing, but now if you have the headset on, there's a counter telling you how long is left on the render, so it's amazing. And honestly, going back to the render speed, it almost renders at like exactly 1 second per 1 second in the song, so it's really, really fast. Fixed an issue where the correct camera option did not work properly on the 360-degree levels. I haven't tried this out, but I'm assuming it's fine. Improved the stability of rendering multiple levels in succession using the render queue. Again, I haven't tried render queue yet. I know people were having problems with that in the previous build, but hopefully this has fixed it. Added a visible and draggable representation of the third-person camera position in the pause menu. Again, not tested that, but I'm just going through these. Fixed rendering issues related to replays downloaded from BeatLeader. Changed the bitrate option to a slider and lowered its maximum. Using overly high bitrates will only waste space on your computer. Again, I discovered this long in the past. Back in the day, we were trying like crazy high bit rates because we thought it would improve the quality of the video, but in fact it's just a waste of time. And if your bitrate goes too high, you just end up getting crashes and it's just a pain for no reason. And fixed a crash on startup. And for advanced users, added fields in the configuration file that can be modified to override the render resolution, width and height. So I'll show you that as well. It's the same as before. There's just a text file that you can edit. And again, you can change all these settings within the text file, but like the majority of it is now directly in game, so you honestly don't need to mess about much at all. And now that it mixes everything together on the headset, you could literally just pull the video file off and upload it straight to YouTube. So there's no more transcoding or editing if you don't want to. And then they finally say, if you find bugs, please report them to me through Discord or GitHub issues. And there we go, we've got the source code, we've got the download file, so that's everything here. So we'll jump in the headset now and have a look at the changed settings. Okay, so here we are inside the Quest 2. I'm going to show you the replay settings, although not much has changed, to be honest. So anyway, I'm already on a song here. I'm going to avoid trying to play any music now because I've finally monetized, so I might actually make a few pounds off these videos, which would be nice after all the effort I've put in. But anyway, so this is the song that I'm going to render. It's 2002, Annie Marie. And so once you've obviously played a song through, you would come here and there'll be a little replay button next to it, and this is on every difficulty. So if you've done an expert and not an expert plus, it will only appear when you've clicked on the expert, so on and so on. It will still show up your old replays, because this one I played like 5 months ago and then kind of forgot about it. But I want to render it now that Bloom and everything's working. So anyway, once you've come to your song, click this little replay button, and everything's pretty much the same. There's only a few small changes. So obviously we've got watch replay here, so you can watch it in normal mode, which is the preferred mode if you're just going to watch the replay to check it out. Smooth camera and third person are locked camera positions, so these are more for when you're actually recording the video. So smooth camera I would set to render, a third person if you want to use third person obviously. Then we've got the add to render queue. So then also if we go over here, there's this little gear icon, and that takes us to the replay settings and also the render settings over on the left hand side. And we've got these other settings over here just to change what the controllers do and buttons and stuff like that. I don't mess with this, I can't be bothered, but the position ones are good for if you're in third person, I think, so then you can reposition your camera and stuff, but I don't make third person videos anymore. I might mess about with that in the future because I kind of miss doing like side by sides and stuff. Anyway, this is just the same as it always was. One thing I changed with my settings, just because I dropped the FOV down from 90 to 80, I changed the position offset of Z. The Z axis is your forward and backwards camera position. Okay, so if you're wondering X, Y, Z, X is left to right, Y is up and down, and Z is forward and backwards. All this is the same as I've always had it, but just tweak this to however you like it. And then over on the replay settings, we've got PC Wars here, we've got Bloom. We've got PC mirrors, and that's the mirror on the floor underneath you and underneath the blocks. We've got anti-aliasing, so bloom and anti-aliasing have been added. It already loaded in maxed out, and all this is basically how it loaded up. Shockwaves, your resolution, your bitrate caps out at 25,000, FOV, and your FPS. And then there's another tab at the top, rendering. So if we click on that, there's allow pauses, record sound effects, and the ding. So if you didn't see the previous video, the ding sound basically plays once a render's finished recording. And the added one we've got now is the record sound effects, which is basically your hit sounds from your sabers. This will be off by default. So yeah, if you need to, if you want the hit sounds, obviously come in here and toggle that on. Because I had that problem at the start. I didn't know why I wasn't getting hit sounds, so I was trying to turn up the sound of my hit sound, and yeah, it wasn't doing anything. So that's the main one, and all this is pretty much as it was when I installed the new version. So that's about it really. If you want to do smooth camera or third person, select them here, click render. I might do this now and quickly see if my recording in the headset will show you the actual the time counter that's displayed on the screen when it's just blank. It might do, it might not, so we'll see how that goes. If it doesn't work, then I'll just crop this back to the PC and we'll carry on from there. Okay, so as you can see, the settings were pretty straightforward. Just a couple of changes from previous, basically bloom and anti-aliasing, and you know, a couple of other little bits. And you did see that it recorded the clock playing. I had to mute. It was playing the music there at the same time, but obviously I had to mute that off. But at least you can see a visual representation of what's on the headset screen while it's rendering. There's a couple of issues I've run into personally, and these are only relevant if you are wanting to edit the files afterwards. If you are just happy to pull the video file off and upload it, then you're good to go. So just skip ahead to maybe the last chapter where I just show you the where the settings config file is. But this is specifically for people who want to edit, and I'll show you what the problem is. So if I open DaVinci Resolve, and this is a really weird one because when I first tried this out, I could import. And so these ones here, this is the render here. I could import the file straight off the headset, and it was working in DaVinci. But now for some reason today I've gone to do some renders, and it says media offline. And if I drag that onto the timeline, the audio plays through, and it plays through like it's just playing normally, but it just says media offline in bright red up here. I've tried everything to fix this. I can't understand why it's doing that. So then I thought, well, I'll go back to my old methods. I'll just chuck it in Shutter Encoder, and I'll try just rewrapping it rather than actually transcoding it. So I tried rewrapping it as MP4, same issue. So I just went back to my original method of browse for the file, load it in, and going to DNxHR and changing that to 444, start function, and that then enabled me to, I've already done this, I won't go through the whole process, like that's basically all you do. start function, this will take about 5 to 10 minutes. Once that's done, you come to your editing software, import, and this is the DNxHR that was from Shutter Encoder, and as you can see, it's now a working file. So I don't know what that issue is, but yeah, I just thought I'd put this in to let people know. But you can just upload the file straight to YouTube. You don't, obviously, if you don't want to edit, then don't worry about it. But I just thought I'd show you this little bit, just in case people are running across this. And I don't know why it worked and then didn't work, but I reached out to Metalit and they said they don't really want to mess with any more of the code. It's working making the videos and mixing the audio and the video on the headset. So there's no point messing with it really, when most people will just upload the video file anyway. So yeah, thought I'd show you that. We're just gonna cut away now to a final bit showing you where the settings config file is for replay. Okay, so for this last little bit, I'm just going to show you where to find that replay text file so you can edit some extra settings if you want. So make sure your Quest is connected to SideQuest, and then you will go up in the top right hand corner to this little folder icon, Manage Files on the headset. Click on that, scroll down to Mod Data, click on that, wait for that to load up, and then you've got Com Beat Games Beat Saber, click on that, and then you've got configs here, and then just scroll down until you find replay. It's in alphabetical order, so where are we? Replay, and then all you will do is click the little save icon, save that to PC, and then if I go to my downloads, just click off that, you can see here replay. So if you open that up as a text file, it just shows you all the settings that are part of the replay and render. I won't go through all these. Most of them are just the settings that you can see in the headset, like your FOV, FPS and all that kind of stuff. But there's a few extra settings you can tweak to do with resolution, stuff like that. Like you could maybe, I was thinking maybe you could do like a portrait resolution, you know, like a phone screen, like a vertical resolution. Maybe if you want to do YouTube Shorts and you want to render directly to that format rather than having to sort of edit it, you know, crop it in editing software or something, you could just make quick shorts and upload them straight to YouTube or TikTok or whatever. I haven't tried that yet. I know that would throw up an error in the past, so maybe it's fixed now, maybe it isn't. I will try one at some point just to see if it's working and maybe upload it just to show you guys. But yeah, so that's about it. Mess about with this if you want, but to be honest, like 99% of these settings are in the headset anyway, so if you just want to keep things simple, then I would just leave this as it is and just use the settings in the headset. So that's it for the video today, and thanks.